how many senses do we have? That's the question. Should we have 10 senses, 20 senses, unlimited senses? It's not like that. There is a sense has some function. So there are 5 major functions, and there can be enhancement of the function or a reduction of the function itself. Meaning, if the senses have to be used to the fullest capacity, then it should have much beyond the today what we are able to see, hear, taste, touch, smell, meaning as humans. So is there something like that? Yes. Is there something below that? Yes. Is there something equal to that? Yes. So for the topic of senses, it's just to sense. So now, for that matter, whether it is single organism or multi-organism or multicellular or single cellular, there is a basic sense of touch, and that is going to be there irrespective of whatever kind it is. Touch is the primary uh, sense. That's the most primary, primitive, primary, whatever we could say is that sense of touch. So majority of the organisms we see, majority means almost all, have a sense of touch. So when it is touched, it will react to the touch. Anything that touches. So phassa, contact, is that touch which makes one react. So every living being, plant, to anything you take, reacts to the touch. It has got sense. That means there is a touch sense door. Otherwise, how would it ever know? Like, how does a tree or a plant or a creeper know that this is where the water source is? It has to touch something. Otherwise, if they cannot touch, then what is it doing? So if there is a touch, there is a feeling. So in the senses, there should be a feeling. And if there is a feeling, there should be a perception. Because you can perceive. So the roots can perceive where the water is, so they keeps on spreading. All of us, we have spread ourselves because of food. Wherever we get food, shelter, clothing, medicine, we go there. Animals will go like that. So everything is related to contact. Now, what is a sentient being? Sentience means which can sense and react to the environment. Plant in a way have a limited ability to run away, or they can't run away basically. Meaning if a monkey were to jump on a tree, the tree will not say, hey, shush, go, why are you on my trunk, on my branches? Even if the branch were to break, it can't do anything because it has consciousness, it has only touch, it has nothing else. Meaning it lacks the mind faculty. So trees, plants, creeper, all of this have no mind faculty. Yes, Aryu.
So I think before you mentioned also the plants can feel, which is why when they're turning around facing the sun and all that. But I thought perception is a feature of the mind, is it not? Since it
No,
doesn't have a man.
all senses have perception. All senses have perception. Even if you look at sanya, it says rupa sanya, saddha sanya, gandha sanya. It is not mind which is doing it. They themselves have a perception. Minds add it up. It's got nothing to do with the perception is only in the mind.
Okay. But it's a
Yeah.
sankhara also in the senses as well. Does that mean they can have
It
sankhara?
says no, it's again there is a definition given. Chakku sanchetana, sota sanchetana, ghana sanchetana. That's the reason it is used, right? So there is an intention in the eye, there's an intention in the ear, there's an intention in the nose, there's an intention in the tongue, there's an intention in the body. And the same way there's an intention in the mind.
What about the plants? What about the plants?
You check. They have perception, but are they doing anything about it? Are they doing sankharas? They require the mind to do the sankhara. Since they cannot have a mind on their own, if if it were true, Aryu, by now you couldn't eat anything.
Oh, that's why it's a mano sanchetana. This mano is missing, hence no mano sanchetana.
Yes. So first let's cover these five senses. So if we take plants, creepers, all of that, they have a commonality is there is consciousness, so there is awareness, right? And also there is perception and feeling. So feeling and perception is there. And also it has an experience. So consciousness have these four. It's common. So if anything is a conscious being will have awareness, it will have the feeling, it will have perception, it will have an experience. And that's the reason it can either die or it can live, and it can experience it, know it. Consciousness knows it. So in conclusion or in summary, instead of explaining so much, Buddha says, what does the consciousness know? It knows this is sukha. It knows this is dukkha. It knows this is neutral. It's a basic thing what he has spoken. And that's a basic. If you add all things up and say, tell me what's there in conscious experience. Its conscious experience is either pleasure, pain, neutral. Yes, go ahead.
Sorry to interrupt. I think you're still lagging. Have you quit the OBS, or you have only stopped recording?
I think I have not quit OBS, so let me do that.
Yeah, if you quit it, it'll make it more smooth.
How is it now?
I think it's reducing.
Reducing? Better?
Yeah, I think so, but it will be better ultimately. Okay, good.
Okay. We can't do it. Yeah, I think it's becoming better. Now the lip sync is far thing. So first thing we need to understand is that how many senses we can have. That's a wrong way of putting. It is about why do you require senses? Is to sense something. So if in an environment, if you have to fight for food, then you require tongue sense door to be a predominant thing, because that is how the survival is, right? So it's all about survival game. It's not about why I should have sense or why I shouldn't have sense. It's about that species surviving. Okay. Now, a single cell organism, if we were to take just a single cell organism, protozoa, or whatever it is called as, what is that we are trying to look at? What is it doing? Basically, how is it feeding? It has to sense the food. There's no other way, right? So that's the reason, again, Buddha comes to the basic thing. Sabbe satta aharatika. All living beings are sustained by food. We just miss that. We just read it and say that, okay, I understood. No. It's a basic thing. Just like pleasure, pain, and neutral are the basic things, here also the food is the basic thing. And hence the 10 questions to that child age 7 could become an arhat because he was able to see it. So all beings are sustained by food, whether it's a plant, it's an animal, it's a bird, it's a deva or a brahma or whatever you want to call. They all are sustained by food. Now, if we take that, then why do the deva don't require food? Because they don't have grossness. It's not that there's no food required at all. The food what we are talking is gross food. So there are two kinds of food there. There's a subtle food and there's a gross food. The beings which can only sustain subtle food, They don't require gross food. The beings which can sustain gross food cannot take subtle food. That means the tongue sense door is dependent on the grossness or the subtleness. Right? Like an example, if child in the womb, it doesn't have tongue at that point in time. So if you can see it. But does that mean that there's no tongue at all in that Gandhabba, if that question were to be asked? No, it is there. So the six senses are there. They might be dormant or they might be pronounced. So when the child is getting formed, the Salayatana has not happened. That happens in the end. So only the socket, eye socket is created, ear socket is created, nose socket is created, mouth socket is created, body socket is created. It's just holes which are getting created based upon the type of the organism. And then the physical eye and physical ear, physical nose, physical tongue, physical body is getting formed. It's getting formed like a mesh. This is the mental doors. On that, this is getting formed. So this has got nothing to do with this. If this were to be an amphibian, this body will be an amphibian body. If this is a human, it becomes a human body. If it's a bird coming in the egg, it will also have a same kind of feature, but suddenly it changes. So if you look at a human embryo versus all the other embryos, almost all of them look the same. From the initial months, you can't really make out whether it's a really human being or it's an amphibian or whatever it is. We can't really say. Why? Because the mold is the same. That means it has all the six senses. So it has sensing. Now, can there be a different way of sensing other than the eyes? No. As simple as that. And in fact, there's a sutta where Buddha asked this question. If somebody comes to me and says that there is another way of explaining to me other than the five aggregates, I won't agree with that. Why? Now we can see. What is a Rupa aggregate? It's the four elements. Can you explain this in any other way? No. What is a feeling? It's six senses. Can you explain in any other way? The seventh sense, eighth sense, ninth sense, 10th sense, 20th sense. Tell me what it is. It's not there. Then we can say, no, Deva might be having. Okay. Let me know how it works. But I have never seen a Deva. And that means you have to agree with this. Otherwise, you go and talk to the Deva and come back to me saying that this is how they look and these are the 10 senses they explain to me. We are having only 5 senses. I don't even see the 6th sense. Forget about. He's saying mind sense. Have you seen the mind sense door? We don't know. So the basic thing we can only see is 5 senses. Forget even the 6th one. So we have to first get the ability to see the 6th sense. That's why it is called 6th sense. Because we are not able to see where the sense is. From where are we deriving the data? Right? It's like a AI or cloud or whatever it is, and then we don't know from where it is coming. We know it is coming, but we don't know from where. So somebody will say brain is the mind. Somebody will say something is the mind. So then we have to keep on doing this guessing game because we don't know where exactly we are talking. Because here we can talk. You can say, yeah, this is eyes and no confusion. This is ears, no confusion, like that. But when it comes to mind, we don't know. And on top of that, we are thinking there can be other sense doors also. So in Buddha Dhamma, it's not about guessing. It's about what is there. So first we have to understand what is there. What is there? In general, even if you take a single celled organism, it can sense. That means it can feel, it can perceive, it can experience. That's the basic of consciousness. That means it's conscious of its surroundings. What if it just has an eye? No other. But can it live with the eyes alone? No. All the things have mouth and body. It senses the body. It knows the dimension of its body. So if it's finding any obstruction, it will change its path. That means it has the ability to sense the body. It's able to sense the danger. That means mind sense door is there. It can decide whether to go straight. You just see an ant, try to catch an ant, it will run away. Even before you even touched it, it knows the danger, so it runs away. It starts to run away. So that running away, sensing danger, is mind. But you are holding the body, but it knows it will be killed if it doesn't protect. So even if you take a single cell organism, we can find that body sense door, eye sense door, or in this case, mind sense door, body sense door is there. Whether there's eyes or no eyes, they are blind. Fine. Agree, no eyes. But does it have an internal eye? Yes. It doesn't have an external eye, but it has an internal eye. Does it have an ear? Yes, but it has an internal ear. It might not have a physical ear. Agreed. Yes, Aryu.
Yeah, I was watching an animal channel. I think to many of our surprises, many animal which we think don't have eyes, they have tiny, tiny eyes. Like the sea star, they have eye on every tip, like very small, like that. So many animals have those, just not very developed.
Yeah, not very developed. That means there is a sense of eye. It does not depend on the location of the eye. But there is a sense door of eye. So what we are talking in the Buddha Dhamma is not the physical eye or the physical ear, the physical tongue and all that. We're talking about the ayatana, which is the faculty, or rather it should be called as sense field. Field which can experience. Yes.
See,
Yes, Bobby.
in the beginning of our discussion, I think before everybody joined, we are talking about plants. So, is that you are saying that plants has consciousness, and so all these things are applicable to plants also. Like in that sense, faculty is there for every ayatana. It is there for plants also.
No, wait. It has what? So it has feeling and perception, experience, and awareness. That is conscious. Just consciousness. But it's consciousness where to get in contact with the senses is different story, right? See, now first we have to dissect properly. There is I and there is object, there is consciousness. If consciousness is connected with the I, there is a sense of seeing. Minusing the eye in the plant, minusing the ear, minusing the ears and the tongue, and minusing all of that, it's just awareness. It has a feeling, it feels. So plant will feel, plant will perceive, and plant will experience.
See, I have read in some books, I think Bose theory or something, Bose, our like Indian relationship with Bose. So he found some like things like, when you touch a plant, you're saying it is not reacting, but then when you touch it or and you can see that it is reacting. It is no, maybe shrinking or, all
Correct.
this, yeah.
It is a touch me or touch me not. So if we take that, okay. Now, the basic thing in a being having senses is different than the experience just having consciousness. So, by nature, plants and shrubs and trees have ability to modify its reaction based upon the conditions or environment, right? If we were to say they all have 6 senses, for argument's sake, then the tree will not give you fruits. It is having a decision power to decide to whom it should give fruit and to whom it should not give fruit. Or even if you were to have a cabbage or a tomato or whatever it is, it will not give. It's for itself. So nothing you can ask. So it will not give. So now how do we do it then? If they had senses. So the thing is, we should have a separation between the sense field and the basic sense. Basic sense is a consciousness function. Sense fields are different. If we were to club both of them and say that, yes, they have sense field, and then it is wrong, because then they don't have field of experience. They have experience, but they don't have field of experience. If there is a field experience, then they will do it in a different way. You take in the body, we have a lot of, let's say, there are worms in the body. You try killing them, they'll run away. They'll try to escape. Have you seen any plant escaping? I'm not saying that they don't sense. They do sense. They do sense, meaning if there's no water, they do sense. They'll try to find water. For their growth, survival, that's there. Because consciousness would like to survive. That's the basic thing of consciousness.
So this you agree that there is a consciousness for the plants that is there.
That I've been telling.
Then the consciousness is what is transmigrating, right? That according to Buddha, consciousness is always going here and there.
No,
So
no. That is 6. See, this is the same question what that poor guy fisherman asked Sati, and he says that Buddha, you only told me that see this consciousness transmigrate, and he says, where on earth have I ever spoken to you like that?
Yeah, what I mean is when I said the consciousness, not the same consciousness, like whatever consciousness which is changing.
Wait.
Yeah, sorry.
Let's not combine these two things. So first, let's agree that there is consciousness. I'm not saying there is no consciousness at all in plants. And what's the function of consciousness? It has 4 functions. It becomes aware. Anything that has consciousness has self-awareness, or rather basic awareness. So if you take a plant, as soon as it starts to sprout, it becomes aware. Okay, there's an awareness. When there is awareness, there is a feeling of that awareness, right? There's a feeling. So a plant has feeling. If there's a small sapling to a tree, it has feeling. Then it has perception. It can perceive the environment. And then it has an experience. Now, there is no experiencer there because there are no 6 sense doors to that experiencer to experience. Okay, so if you were to pull a plant from A place and put it in B place, it will take time for it to get adjusted to the new environment, which is equivalent to any human being or any animal, anything. So in that sense, both are reacting the same. Because it is threatened. What is threatened? The consciousness is threatened of continuity, right? So if the environment is not given, that plant will die. When we say it will die means what? It will become unconscious, right? Because it has no food for survival. So we call it as death of the plant because no further growth can be found. Clear? So to that extent, all the beings, including the plant, look the same. Now you require a field of experience. To say that I'm experiencing Bobby or Bobby is experiencing Vilas, you require a field of experience. Otherwise, how will you experience Bobby or Vilas? Not possible. So then, what are the basic faculty for or basic sense organ sense perception that are required for an experience to happen where it can see an experiencer and an experienced? Clear? See, I'm seeing Bobby, it's my experience, right? And who is experiencing? I am. So
Yes.
there is I am as an experiencer and also as Bobby the experience. Got it? Yeah, Arya, go ahead.
I guess, can you say the field is where the experiencer lives, right? You can see it like that. The field is like the home of the experiencer.
Wait, I'm coming to that. Hold on. So I'm dissecting slowly so that it is quite understandable later. Now, first and foremost, we need to know there is an experiencer who feels the experience. I'm not talking about conscious, that what we spoke. Consciousness has awareness, feeling, perception, experience. I'm not talking about that. I'm talking about, don't you feel as an experiencer? So when you are in Brisbane or in New York or in San Francisco or in Bangalore, wherever, you are experiencing you as an experiencer, right? You can definitely say, I'm in Brisbane. I mean, it's not the name Brisbane. We're talking about the real experiencer of Brisbane. Is there, right? So can you remove that by chance? No. Why? Because there's an experiencer. And what is he experiencing? Whatever to be experienced. So he's experiencing Brisbane. He's experiencing New York. He's experiencing San Francisco. He's experiencing Bangalore. He's experiencing some other place or something. He's experiencing the table, experiencing the chair, experiencing the mobile. All that are field of experience. So in his field, like you go to a field to grow something, so many things are grown. So each one can be experienced. Right? So the experiencer experiences. So when we say field, this experiencer goes and eats that and comes back. Clear? EYEI as an experiencer will go to the site to experience and comes back. Have you seen that in the plant, that this plant went to see its friend which was next door, said hi, and that other plant also said, hey, glad to meet you, and come back. Meaning there's a physical movement should be there. But we find that the plant or that tree or shrub or whatever is fixed to the ground. It can't move anywhere. Now we might argue that if that is not happening, yes, Chirag, go ahead.
So, so what happens to, let's say, the feeling of I am at the moment when you're eating? So let's say maybe originally you're resting in the I am, then you go out to eat something, maybe the apple or some site. So at the moment that you're experiencing something or at the moment you're eating something, what happens to the experiencer, or what happens to the I am? If my
You
question
have
makes sense.
your question makes sense. You have, if there were a movie and they were just starting the movie and you have come to the end of the movie, when the climax and everything has got done, and then you're just almost about to go home. Chirag, it's good. Hold on. So it will take some more time before I come to that.
So wait, are you saying the question I'm asking is related to the climax or to the beginning? Which?
No, to the end of it, to the end
Oh,
of the movie,
okay.
when the girl and the boy married and they divorced and everything happened, and the parents and came and did everything, and they lived happily ever after. Or in the Indian movie context, the last thing which comes as Shubham, right? So we are almost there.
Okay.
Where you can get off the movie theater and you can be almost on the verge of walking. So hold on to your question. It's a nice question. So first we have to understand who this I is, not EYE, I, that I. So basically, if they have sense, whichever senses, not the sense. Basic sense is consciousness. It has senses, meaning it has a sense door through which it can allow something to come and something not to come, or decide I need this and I don't need this. Okay, so there are 18 dhatus, qualities, which can never be changed. First one, there is a chakku dhatu, quality of an eye. It can't become ear just because I don't like it. It will always be an eye. Wherever it is, it doesn't matter. It's an eye. EYE, eye. And there is a rupa dhatu, which has shape and color. So the eye knows this is the shape and this is the color. You don't have to teach the eye, this is the shape and this is the color. But you require the knower of the field. And that is consciousness, chakku vinyana. The consciousness that knows what is an eye, EYE, and also the object, which is the shape and color. You are not training the eye from today. You are not seeing color or the shape. You have got nothing to do with it. It will only react to shapes and colors. Nothing else. But since we call it as a sense field, there is an experiencer apart from the thing that is getting experienced. So how many parts are there? One is an experiencer, one is an experienced. This experiencer will then claim to be I, not EYE, I as an individual. I saw. Who saw? Experiencer. What did he see? A sight. So there is this awareness, consciousness has awareness that there is a sight to be seen. Then there is a feeling of that sight. Then there is a perception of that same sight. However, it should have been only an experience, but then it takes itself as an experiencer and hence becomes atta, self. If you were to leave to only these four, awareness, feeling, perception, experience, then there's no I. EYE is there. I as an individual is not there. It's peaceful. Because there's no Atta, self. Myself saw it. What do you mean? Yourself saw it? How did it see it? Through the eyes. Oh, very good. So basically, we need to understand this very clearly, that experiencer experienced. This consciousness, Chakku Vinyana, behaves as though it's an experiencer and also the experienced. It's just giving an experience rather than being an experiencer or an experienced, because it's coming with the object and going away after the object is not there. Meaning, if we were to close this session, can the I still claim, EYE, still claim it's getting experience of Aryu and Chirag and Bobby and May and Shreyas? Can it? No. Then who can claim it? You can say mind can claim it because it can replay it. So we'll come to mind faculty later. We'll stick to the 5 faculties first to understand. Can the EYEI claim that I'm still watching all of these people? And the answer is no, because they have left. So the I loses that conscious experience of these objects which were there. Clear? So there's no experience, and hence there is no experiencer. So we can see that this consciousness, Chakku Vinyana, came into existence because of the object here and the subject here. Clear on one sense door at least? What's really is happening? Okay. And same thing happens with the sound. Same thing happens with the touch. Same thing happens with the smell. Same thing will happen with the sight, sound, taste, touch, and smell. 5. Same. No difference. So now can we claim this is the same consciousness which is going into the next life, or a different consciousness? And the answer is silence. Why? Because if you say the same, that becomes what? Sasattavada. That means eternalistic view. If we say, that means it doesn't, becomes Uchchedavada, nihilistic or annihilationist view. Then what it is? A best answer that could be provided is, as long as the food is there, so long the consciousness is going to be there. Now what's the food? Sight, sound, taste, touch, smell, and thoughts are the food. As long they are there, the consciousness can grow, mature, and throw it out. Again, grow, mature, throw it out, grow, mature, throw it out. And that's all what we can see. And this way of seeing is dependent origination or paticca samutpada. So this is the middle path. It doesn't allow to go to the one extreme that it doesn't exist, another extreme that it exists. Because the question will then be coming that who dies then? Okay, 6 senses. That means the same 6 senses is coming into the operations. Yeah, logically, yes. That means if you are having a 6 senses of a human, And how can it turn itself into Deva or as a Brahma or as an animal? Because it can't. Or if it is an animal, how it can come back to human or a Deva or a Brahma? Then we have to bring in a concept called karma. And if you take karma, and then how does a karma know that the six senses should take this form and not that form? So it gets more and more muddled into it. So instead of the Sasattavada and Uchchedavada, which is eternalistic view and annihilationist view on the five senses, at least, if we take the sixth sense, we'll take it later, the five senses, we need to see that as long as the condition is there for the Vijnana, it will have a subject-object experience. It means you can confidently say, I met Chirag, I met Aryu, I met Bobby, I met May, I met Shreyas. Because there is a conscious experience of that. You can't say there was no experience at all. There is an experience. So this, whatever we call as faculty or the sense door or sense field, spheres, whatever we want to call those words, just to make sure that it's coming into one bracket, we can definitely see something is going there, eating and coming back. That we can see. Something is being fed. Eyes are fed with sight. Ears are fed with sound. Nose are fed with smell. Tongue is fed with taste. Body is fed with touch. Like that we can see. It's very evident. Now this kind of feeding, called a sense stimulation, is what is called kama, or what is known as kama, or sensuality, because you keep on feeding on that. So there's a eye feeding on the sight, ear feeding on the sound, nose feeding on the smell, body feeding on the touch, and tongue feeding on the taste. Okay. Now when there is a feeder, there should be a fodder, because there's something to be fed. The fodder should be there. Is that why it is called Kama Bhava? Yes. So if there were nothing to be fed, then there's no need for this sense faculty also. Correct? So if a discrimination can be done, the discriminative power is in the mind, in the chitta. It can discriminate and say that, why am I feeding it? It's of no use. It can withdraw. So that withdrawal, where all it is there, in the animal realm or in the preta realm or single cellular, multicellular, whatever organism, tapeworm, this worm, that worm, which are infesting on our own bodies, they are there because there is food. That means only body sense door, tongue sense door, eye sense door might be there. In some creatures, 4 sense doors can be there. In some creatures, 5 sense doors can be there. Okay. Now the discretionary faculty is the mind. That is undeveloped or underdeveloped or developed. Right? That means based upon the sensory inputs, what to do is the mind sense door. It can be a participative, it can participate, or it can withdraw. the participation. Yes, sir.
Can you say for a tree, there's this kayancha paticca potapecha kaya vinyana? No.
There is no senses, right? I'm not talking about the consciousness. Consciousness function is different, senses are different, they both are not the same. Don't do this mistake of considering senses equals consciousness.
So when we say kaya, when we say usually kaya, it means the senses, the pasada rupa.
Yes. So otherwise there was no need to Buddha to say kayancha poticcha pottabbecha uppajjati kaya vinyanam. Right? There's because kaya already have vinyana, so why another kaya vinyana has to come? That's the reason I'm going very slow. That don't get confused on the senses equals consciousness. Then you're totally muddled yourself up. But then we can say tree has senses because tree has consciousness. But if something has an eye and a ear and a nose and the tongue and the body, whichever predominantly formed, will it stay there waiting for it to be done, whatever it has to be done? No. Because each one of those knows the danger. You are not teaching it, here is the danger, here is no danger. Right? Now, along with that comes the mind sense too. If it is underdeveloped, it has only sense of threat. So majority of the living beings we find, which can be seen through our own eyes, have a sense of threat. Do you see that in a plant having a sense faculty which can see the threat? Let's say argument is say yes. Then there is a decision making also. If you see an ant carrying a sugar, or what we saw that day, you, Shreyas, and Sachin, we were standing and having breakfast. We saw the crow, how it ensured the rat dies, how it planned, how it threw near the two-wheeler can go on that, or whichever vehicle can go on that, to pick it up and go. And while it was flying, a eagle came and attacked it. Do you see anything like that happening in the plant kingdom? If answer is yes, again for argumentative sake, then there's no difference between the plant life, human life, animal life, all the lives are same. Yes, they are same with relation to consciousness, but they are not the same with relation to senses. Yes, are you good?
So like Bobby was saying, the plants, they react in some way, right? Like there's these plants where you touch it, it claps, right? So how would you, in these kind of terms, explain how that happens?
Forget the sense faculty. See, you're taking faculty. Faculty is different, sensing is different. Awareness is awareness. When it is aware, whatever is there inside it, it will do that. Let's say, that's the reason Buddha gives some example. A mango tree can never become a neem tree. Why? He's given that example. Why? Mango has only the mango seed, right? So can it become bitter just because it hates it? For this week, let me turn bitter. No. Why? There's no decision making there. Can it decide? It cannot decide. So we are seeing If that were to be true, Aryu, then every tree, every creeper should be able to do like that. Only a particular species does that. So we go to a touch me, we have called it as a touch me not plant, and then when we touch it. So then we come to a conclusion that it is having a faculty. Faculty or a field of experience has a decision making also to do or not to do. To attack or not to attack. Yes, yes, Bobby. Go ahead.
Yeah, like see, some clarity is getting, but this was a topic always kind of, I was having a very difficulty in understanding. So when you're saying that some clarity is there, but still there are many plans, like, say for example, what you're trying to say is that, don't complicate between consciousness and sense faculty and the actual senses. That's what I'm understanding. So I'm trying to figure it out. But then this roots of some trees, it to protect itself, it goes into some places where there is water, or like a sunflower seed, it goes into where the sun is there. Or even if you put some kind of trees in the house, like plants in the house, it will turn towards the window where it is, you can see it is landing. So these aren't all some protection mechanisms, or no?
No. Okay, I'll again provide clarity with what I started with. When we say conscious, that is same for all, including plants, shrubs, trees, whatever it is. So consciousness has 4 dimensions. One, when we say awareness, it will do what is required, right? There's a doer, because consciousness has a doing thing. Okay, there is not only a doer, there is a enjoyer. So if the sun is not coming there, I rather turn towards the sun. But only sunflower can do it, or some other plant or shrub can do it. Not all will do like that. It's not commonality. There is a reason. What sunflower feels is different than what that touch me not plant feels. But the basic feeling is a feeling. The basic awareness is basic awareness. So leaving aside the species, how they react to the environmental condition, the basics is the same. That is, consciousness has awareness, feeling, perception, and an experience. You can't rob it out from there. Because they are plant, they cannot experience. They can experience. How? If you pluck from one place and put it in another place, they experience a difference in their environment. So it takes them time for them to get adjusted to it. So you'll see them like this for few hours or few days. So that very clearly shows that there is an experience. If some idiot says that there is no experience, that guy has not understood what is consciousness itself. There's an experience. But is there an experiencer? Is my question. Does it say, hey, wait, Bobby, I'm experiencing, don't pour so much water, I'm already full? Have you seen any plant talking to you in that way? Or any tree, any shrub? No. You feed a dog or a cat or a rat or a what we can say bird or whatever it is, including an ant. If it is full, it will not take it. You keep on pouring water to the plant, it will not say no. That's the difference between an experiencer and just an experience. So first we should have clarity on, yes, go ahead.
So anyway, let me conclude. So these plans are completely out of this rebirth and all this karma law and everything. They are completely out of that. They are not in the picture at all.
Let's park them aside very far. First, let us deal with this problem, and then we come to their problem.
This problem definitely, like you are giving some clarity, but then maybe later, like when I meditate on that, maybe I get some.
No, there is an answer to it. But if we mix both of them, it becomes. I wanted to answer to Chirag's question that how many different perceptions are there, or how many different senses are there.
Senses.
Basically, sensing is only one. As long as consciousness is there, there is the ability of sensing. So sense organs / faculties / field, whatever we want to call sphere, are different than the sensing. We are combining both and confusing ourselves that eye means this, ear means that, like that. Sensing is the same. If there were to be consciousness, it's going to sense. You can't rob the sensing itself saying that no, consciousness shouldn't sense. The very fact you are conscious or somebody is conscious can sense. Okay, so sensing has, or consciousness has, 4 things to sense. One, it knows itself, so there's awareness. 2, there's a feeling. There is some feeling, right? If some tree is touched, it knows this is something which is sitting on top of that, or something is there.
Is there always a feeling though?
Yes, all the time.
So when you're in, let's say, jhana or something, do you think? I don't know. I think my experience is that the feeling is not always there. Depends on your state of consciousness.
Exactly. You questioned yourself and you answered yourself. Now, the state of consciousness is such that you can't feel anything, then the consciousness is not there, so there's no feeling. So as long as there is consciousness, there is feeling. And as long as there is feeling, there's perception. As long as there is perception, so long is experience. So when I'm going to the first jhana, I have a first jhana experience, right? So there's a feeling that you are in first jhana. There's a perception that you're in first jhana. Then there is an experience of first jhana. Yes or no? And so that means you can say, I was in first jhana. Like, when I come to San Francisco, there's a feeling of being in San Francisco. There's a perception of being in San Francisco. There's a experience of being in San Francisco, because there is an awareness that this is San Francisco.
Right. I think maybe my confusion is there, because I think what you mean by feeling is different from how I understand feeling. Like, I understand feeling as something that arises in the heart, or in your there are certain
Same
places.
thing. Same thing. Now, wherever it arises, right? See, if you consider this whole body as one faculty, so we are yet to come to the faculty at all. We are still close necked on our consciousness itself. Consciousness is there everywhere. Wherever there is, you move your head, there is an awareness, and then there is a feeling of that, what you're seeing, hearing, tasting, touching, smelling. And then you have a perception of that, and then there is an experience of that. That's a consciousness function. The function of consciousness are only 4. Can't be anything beyond 4, lesser than 4, or whatever. So when we say be in awareness, means don't get muddled up with something, be aware of this one. So when you say this one, what is awareness? Awareness means that you know something is there. That's the basic awareness. So you feel that awareness. What do you mean by feeling is whatever you're saying, Chirag, in the heart or whatever, and that's the one. And then when you say perception, in the same place, in the heart, you'll have perception. And experience also happens in the same place, because the consciousness itself resides in the same place. So where else will you have that? So first thing, we need to see what is a conscious experience. That I am very conscious about it. Means what? Means these 4. Are we clear before we even go to the senses?
So I think, just from my side, I think I need to sit down and rewatch the recording and go over this again, because I think a lot of material for me to understand. Yeah.
Yeah, I know you have a lot of material, but I think I have to end it today, because going to sense fields seemingly we are not yet ready to that journey. So let us take a break here, understand, reflect upon what is consciousness. Because consciousness reflects. Sense objects don't reflect. It's a consciousness which can reflect. So when I say I was in my childhood, it is not the senses which have gone to the childhood. It's the consciousness which has gone to the childhood. And when I say I have a wife, it's the consciousness which is picking up the wife, not the senses.
So
Senses
um,
yeah, go ahead.
so when you say so I think the question is, where do the sense objects reside? So you're saying that it's the consciousness that can go to the sense objects, but not the sense objects. But my question is, where do the sense objects reside in the first place? That
They don't reside anywhere. They don't reside anywhere. They're just a mirage. That's it. They don't reside anywhere. So the perception is itself a mirage. So that's what Buddha says also, which is true. If you start seeing it, you'll see that it is literally a mirage. There's no real thing called as a subject-object experience.
right,
That
but
is,
it has to reside somewhere though, because here's the thing. Let's say in order for me to go to the sense object, there has to be some sort of a bridge, a bridge that connects my consciousness or my I am to the sense object. Unless that connection is there, I cannot travel to that
yes, there is a
sense.
connection. Yes, Chirag, there is a connection. So the consciousness connects two unrelated things, the eye and the sight to be seen, the ear and the sound to be heard, the nose and the thing to be smelt, like that. Okay. And hence there is an experiencer. And as long as consciousness remains in that, it can refer back. If there were no consciousness, you can't refer back. So consciousness has this role to play. Since it is aware, it knows everything. And that's a question being asked. What does it know? So instead of explaining like what I'm explaining, Buddha uses even more basic thing. It knows this is sukha, this is dukkha, this is adukkha sukha. That's all it knows. It has everything in that. Awareness can make out this is pleasure, this is pain, this is neutral. The feeling will then come as pleasure, neutral, and painful. The perception then can be made at this object is giving me a pleasure, this object is giving me pain, this object is neutral. And hence, there is an experience of pain, pleasure, and neutral. Yes, Sergio.
Yeah, I was just thinking about responding to Chirag about the jhanas, right? I mean, once you come out of the jhana, Chirag, don't you would say, oh, that felt nice, or something like that? And if so, that means the feeling is there, right?
No, I
No,
think
his question is different.
His question is different. Okay.
His question is different. So, sorry, Tirag, what you rightly said is you go through this, first understand what is consciousness. That's the first thing we need to do. Forget the sense faculty for time being, okay? Don't invest too much time on the sense faculty. We'll do it tomorrow, only sense faculty. Don't worry about it. First, are you convinced? Do you have that, what I can say, a real grasp of consciousness than the theoretical grasp? Theoretically, you can say consciousness means, because it is said in the sutta, this is sukha, this is dukkha, dukkha, sukha, over, done.
I think I need to rewatch once, because these are some very fundamental questions.
Yes.
Yeah,
So
very basic.
yes, very basic. If you really understand what is consciousness, it's the same everywhere, whether it's plant or animal or deva or brahma or whatever it is, any life form. has consciousness.
Sorry,
But yes, go ahead.
sorry. Can I ask you one last thing? I think we are going to
Yeah.
conclude, right? So this, again to the, some stone or rock or water or like a plant. How many? Say 5 khandhas are there, right? 5 khandhas. So in that, how many khandhas are there in a stone, or how many khandhas are there in a plant? How
There
many?
are, okay, so now you have gone totally different place.
Is it
So there
different?
are, yeah, it is different. So let me still answer it. There are 3 lokas. One is the Satta Loka. What we are talking is Satta Loka or Sattva, essence. So all animals, plants, trees, shrubs which have life, basic life forms, have Sattva in them. That means it can extract something. Then there is Sankhara Loka.
So it has 5 khandhas plant.
Forget the Khanda. Khanda requires sense faculty. You're clubbing things.
No, what I mean is at least Ruba is there, right? Ruba is there.
Forget all that. See, one thing, let's not combine a consciousness, which is consciousness only, with any other thing. Now, what I can do, Bobby, is I can say Chakuncha Paticha Rupe Chopujati Chakku Vijnana. That means Rupa is there, right? And my argument goes that way because an eye faculty is there. We are not going into 6 senses at all. Forget that. If you were to talk about Rupa, it has no life.
Yeah.
It is Nitsattva Nijjiva. That means there is no sattva there, there is no jiva there. So what are we talking then?
Just
There's nothing.
Ruba. Just
It's
Ruba.
only Rupa. So how can we call that as a Khanda? Khanda will
Only Ruba.
wait.
Ruba. Oh, okay.
If you call a Khanda, it is an accumulation of something, right? So that means if there's an accumulation, means there should be something should have got formed to get an accumulation, right? So we are going into something else. So there are 3 lokas. One is a Satta Loka or Sattva Loka, essence. Then there is Sankhara Loka, where you can do Sankharas, the Sankhara Loka. Then there's Okasa Loka. The rocks and the things what you're talking is coming from the Okasa Loka. It has got nothing to do with the first 2. And right now what we are talking is only the Satta Loka. So there are 3 lokas, not 1 loka.
So what is the second one?
Sankhara Loka.
So what is some example for that?
No, I'm not going to bring that up here. First and foremost, we are not even gone beyond the basic of it.
Okay, yeah, that's fine.
I'm sorry about it because see, inquisitiveness is good. We need to have knowledge, but I'm telling you, without experience of that, it might not really help us. In fact, I can share the document also on. There is a sutta which comes in the what I can say, Abhidhamma. It's a huge one. I can send about all the lokas and how you should see what are the sankharas, what are the different kind of elements. They talk about element or rather dhatu.
So it doesn't
right?
help at this stage. It doesn't help at this
It
stage.
doesn't help us. To what we are doing, it will not help us.
Okay. Yeah, that's fine. Sorry for that.
No, you don't have to be sorry. I mean, it's good that you asked, but right now we need to understand there are 3 lokas. So when we say, what are we talking? We are talking of 3 lokas. One is a Satta Loka, one is a Sankhara Loka, one is a Okasa Loka. What it means, also tell you. Satta is the Sattva, which is the living, some essence, something. So essentially, we have life. Sankhara is what you do, what accumulation of everything that is being done is Sankhara. Using all the faculties and all the things which create an sustenance mode is the Sankhara Loka. Okasa Loka is how the world is formed, meaning how these rocks, how these planets, how this constellation, all that which doesn't have life form is okasa. Not akasha, okasa.
Okash.
Okasa. Okasa means that devoid of life. Now, a rock. Let's take an example. Rock can feel. I can argue yes. Somebody will say, but stupid. But okasa is bringing out of elements, meaning the Pathavi, Apo, Tejo, Vayu, they combine together due to some conditions and then they split out with the condition is no longer there. But there's no experiencer and then experienced out there. Meaning, if you were to blast a rock, it is not going to come and hit itself at you saying that, how dare you do this to me? Right? So, like mountains, rock, rivers, all of this have a conditionality, but they don't have life form. On it, life can be formed, but by itself has no life. So you got the point. So if I were to argue, this body, physical body, is okasa loka, honestly speaking. This physical body, what we have. You are aware of this body, but is the Pathavi, Apo, Tejo aware of you? It will say, I am not going to stay with you, it will go away. Then what will happen to you? Got it? That is okasa. So, yeah, may go ahead. Bye-bye. So the thing is, we need to understand basic level things in this also. One, there is sattva, sattva. That is where we are interested in right now. Then once we are well versed, we are experiencing it, we know we have crossed Sotapanna, Sakadagami, and now Anagami. Then we can go to Okasa Loka because now the experience is real. And in between is Sankhara Loka, which is required for both of them. So we are going to cover the Sankhara Loka for sure, but we don't have to go there unless we are crossing. Once we are proficient, sure for ourselves that we have understood consciousness. Now we have understood the faculties or the sphere of experience or the whatever we want to call a field of experience. And we have understood who is experiencer, who is experienced. Then we know the other dimension, which is lifeless dimension. Satta is essence, it has life. 4 elements have no life, correct? If it had life, would it not stay in the same way? You couldn't grow. Because it has no life, it can keep on throwing. See, you go to urine, water is going away. That's part of Okasa Loka. The body is throwing it away, right? So then how can it throw it away if it has life form? We are protecting things. Is it protecting? No, like that. So when there is life, there is protection. When there is no life, there is no protection, correct? When you have a dead body, you can do whatever you want to do. If you want to chop it off, you can chop it off. You want to do it like a vegetable, you can do it. I'm not talking about human being. Any animal, we bring it, we want to eat it. How you chop that meat, is the meat bothered about it? No, because that is Okasa Loka. And so when you remove the condition, it will disintegrate and that's it over. There's nothing more to that. Right? So I bring ostrich or bring chicken or I bring a goat or a sheep or whatever it is. I call that, but it's actually after the life is gone, it is just a Okasa Loka. I can exactly cut in. One of my friend might cut in one different way. I might cut in another different way. I might make a ham or whatever way I want to cook it. I can boil it. I can do whatever it is. He can do it in whatever way he wants. I can put some different spices to it. He might not add any spices to it. Doesn't matter. and the animal can eat the way they want to eat, and it's not going to get worried about what would happen if it's going to eat like this. So because it is non-living, absolutely non-living, correct? Our body is non-living. We are living. You inside is living, but outside is non-living. It slightly requires a deeper experience of what is living and what is non-living. Example I'll give you again. Let's say feeling hot. Hot is coming where? Here, on the body. But body is non-living. So how can you feel hot? Because you are hot. Meaning the sattva can experience hot and cold. The body never feels hot and cold. Anyway, so I'm also out of time. So tomorrow what we do, when we meet Chirag, we'll take your question by the end of tomorrow. I think I will give you an answer. So you have to again join tomorrow.
Sounds good. I think I also need to watch the recording of today again.
Yeah, so we will ask, what we can do is, yeah, if you want to watch after going home, I will upload it. You watch it, no worries. We can still cover tomorrow, and then we'll see whether we can conclude it. And Bobby, I'll cover whatever you have asked also. Don't worry. Okay then. All right.